for passports, for birth registrations, for information that you don't know how to get it from the website, send it. Within 3 to 4 days, you'll have an answer. Check your spam, of course.
Some people have told us that they've had issues at the consulate, like some people have been rude to them. So is there a process where they can complain? Can you say anything in Konkani?
Yes. So I got for me the famous one, which is Dev Barum Korum. This is important. You can destroy your life when you're going to renew your passport, and out of sudden, someone has your name here in the system. Our support, the Portuguese government, they need to register.
Yes.
If you register, they know it's there. They can't delete it. I'll pursue, and say, okay, that area wants a Portuguese teacher because you have a lot of requests.
I've got Joao Pedro Cruz. That's right?
Correct.
Am I saying it correct?
You're saying perfect.
Okay, so I've got Joao Pedro Cruz, and you're the advisory counsellor for the UK and Ireland.
That's correct.
Okay, so thank you for coming and giving your time to us. Can you tell me something more about yourself and our viewers?
Thank you, Melvin, for bringing to your podcast. I know that you're trying to enrich and pass to Goans everywhere in the world, that Goans that just can't be limited to one profession, to one sort of facilities. We are a myriad of opportunities that exist there, and we need to take advantage. So I'm happy to come here. So about a bit of myself. As you said, I'm the Portuguese Advisory Council of UK and Ireland, but that's just an elected role. Beforehand, I'm João Pedro Cruz. I'm a Portuguese citizen. I was born and brought up in Portugal, and like every Goan, I get out of my small hometown to study and to make for a living and expand the horizons. And that's why I'm here in the UK for the last 10 years.
The name of our channel and the podcast is Amcho Vaddo. So Vaddo being village, or where you're from, in Konkani. So what's your Vaddo?
The name of my hometown?
Yes.
So my hometown is Viseu. You can Google it. It's deep inside center-north of Portugal, mainland, and is known for its history. It's got more than 4,000 years existence since the Romans' time. We had a pillar saying Visahum in Latin. It is known for the wines, very, very good wines, olive oil, the cherries. And people might think, well, Portuguese cherries, yes, they are cold, very good. We have very different types of fruit in my area. But I think what you might get to know in my hometown is the granitical buildings, our churches. It's full of splendor and a warm welcoming. People are very warm. And our food, it's quite rich. So people in Goa might know the feijoada. Yes, it's type of food that has a lot of beans, rice, bit of different type of meats. So we have what we call rancho, which is made more with chickpeas, and it used to be quite strong dish that the people work in the land used to eat. So we had this type of food that is giving you strength to work. Back then, as well, fish. That's because we are Portuguese. We love our fish, fresh fish.
You're even Goans.
Yes, so it's nice, and it took me many years because I was a bit homesick at the beginning to realize that I was settling here, and I couldn't go just back and forth in the beginning as I used to go to my hometown. So it came to a point whereas I realized with my wife, no, this is where I live. You're my waffle, and I need to be here with you and not coming back and forth. And as soon as you realize that your heart goes where's your family, then you're well. Regardless, you're in the States, in London, in the UK, in Portugal, in Goa, every part in the world, India, you name it. That's my waffle.
So your family and your heart.
Yes.
That's where home is for you.
Always.
I introduced you as the advisory Portuguese counselor in the UK and Ireland, but you also do something else as a full-time job, don't you?
Yes. So even though I am an elected role, I'm not paid to do this. Okay. I usually say this is a call. I'm not expecting that we are full-time job as members of parliament because we have advisory roles. So it's different. So I need to sustain, right? Yes. So my background is in healthcare. I have a degree in nuclear medicine. Just to be clear, this is a diagnostics field.
How do you get the time to do all the other things that you do?
That's sometimes I wonder that we have only 24 hours.
Yes.
I wish we had 25. So I have an extra hour to do other roles and other things at home. It's a difficult way of managing, but you can only do this if you have the support from your place, from your home. So before I enroll for the elections of the advisory councillors, by invitation of my other colleague, Antonio, so otherwise I wouldn't be. I've always been a person that has been interested to associatism, to activist movements back in Portugal. So I always had an interest to support communities. It's part of me. But every decision I make, I take it home first. So if you don't agree at home, then you can't make your world a better place to live. Because you need to build up the structures first, the foundations, to get the job done after. So to be here, for instance, I did a balance, yes. And I would love to be in every part of the UK and Ireland where there's a Portuguese community, Goan's origin, Africans origin, from my hometown as well, but that's impossible. I usually say it takes time, and I pray for the social media to get the message passed. That's another thing, because if it wasn't for it, I couldn't pass the message sometimes.
That's true.
And that helps me to get the message listened. And the potentialities that we have. So yes, it's difficult, but we need to make the time for the different aspects. And if I have a possibility during my working hours to answer to an emergency, I'll step out and I'll do it. It's not the first time, but there's a compromise, and you need to have that flexibility. Because if you are in a full-time job that doesn't allow you to give you a flexibility of work, then it's complicated. So I'm grateful to have a bit of flexibility that allows me to answer some of the more emergent calls. Apart from it, I'm blessed to have as well the comprehension of my wife and also the dedication as a daddy. So I need to give that to my kid. So yeah, that's how it goes.
That's good. That's good. So you're a daddy as well. So more work.
Yes.
More busy.
Yeah, my little one is almost 2 years of age, so
okay.
You can imagine. For the ones who have the small toddlers or they pass that part, you can imagine.
I've
a lot
got
of
toddlers.
run. Yes.
So, yes, I understand. Okay, so you mentioned social media and how you bring, how you want to use social media to bring the word out, which is also what we are doing to help empower other people. So you use social media in a positive way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, that's correct. And I believe there's one important thing we wanted to talk to you about today is the elections.
Okay.
So as we know, there's elections going on in Portugal on the 18th of May. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a few questions about that. Can you explain why these elections are happening? Which sort of elections are these and why they're happening right now?
Yes. So I think that's a very good point. And I'll try to pass the message often now with the social media, with the support of you and others, to spread out what's happening in Portugal and as well news updates on the consulate. So the elections in Portugal, we had about 2 elections in this period of time, last year in 2024 and now in 2025. So it's quite consecutive. So it's a turmoil in Portugal. There's an instability in the political game in Portugal. And this is important to tell you that this instability happens because there's no majority in the government. So there was, on the past 8 years, before the last election, 2024, a stable government, a socialist government. For different reasons, they did a coalition with the extreme left-wingers. Then they won the elections with majority. And then they lost because of the cases that happens in the government. This is past tense, but they had 13 demissions from the government for various reasons. I don't like to bring this discussion, but potential traffic of influences, potential evidence of corruption, some of them, not the best way to do governance. Okay. And that's why we end up in elections. The prime minister resigned back then. Antonio Costa resigned. And then we had elections in 2024. The elections of 2024, the Social Democrats, PSD, won with a minimal margin. And there was a big hike of a party called Chega, okay. that is now the third most representative in the parliament. Mm-hmm. And they are categorized as the new right-wingers, okay. From a populist perspective. Mm-hmm. They don't consider themselves extreme, but they are on the borderline of extremists, okay. In terms of position.
They're center to right, yes. Right-leaning.
There's the right leading mm-hmm. to an extreme position. Analogy to UK, it's the Reform UK of Portugal. Okay. Okay? That's the best way to explain. It's the Reform UK of Portugal. Okay? In terms of ideas. Because of this instability of parliament, the government asked, for various reasons, to pass a motion of confidence that they couldn't manage. It was basically annulled on the parliament. So because they don't have the confidence in the parliament, the prime minister resigned. The reason he resigns also is because the society in general, but the member of opposition, of the main opposition political party, which is the socialists now, start bringing cases about the exclusivity of work of the prime minister. The prime minister is a lawyer. He used to have a society before he became prime minister, and then he passed his actions of the society, members of the family. Okay. So to be a prime minister, you need to be in regime of exclusivity, mm-hmm. which makes sense, and at the same time, you need to declare to the Constitutional Court that you don't have any conflicts of interest, mm-hmm. and that you abide by the Portuguese law, and you're not gaining anything out from it. Yes, so you're not making third parties engagement, because I'm the prime minister, of course, and make some favoritism of certain companies or laws that I'll pass to make you a better living, right? Yeah. Or better investment. And so that's where mm-hmm. the tumult started in Portugal. And the magistrates proved a month or so ago that there's no illegality. Okay. But even so, the parliament was already absolved. The prime minister resigned because of a lack of the trust, even mm-hmm. though this became a bit late. And that's why we're here on the 18th of May, the voting.
So the prime minister has been cleared by the magistrate last month.
He was being
But
cleared.
Before that, the parliament was already resolved.
Yes, so the parliament basically wanted, this is very political ping-pong game, right? Which is wrongdoing. I would like to know, what are your proposals? What are you going to legislate about? Not about what is the color of my sweatshirt that I'm wearing today, or what university you put to your son. Where did you, these kind of questions, like why we were living in an hotel when you could afford a smaller house, when you had a problem on your place, on the prime minister house, because we have an official prime minister house back then. And they asked these type of questions to the prime minister, and start wondering, is this actually of our interest? Of course, he said, he had his own private funds to live in a hotel back then. That's fine. I'm happy for him. Okay, good. If everyone could afford an hotel to live beforehand, that's fine. But the point here is they debate about ethics, about your problems, and we say everyone has ceilings of mirror, and they shatter quite easily.
Yes.
And the persons that were on the opposition, they also have they have very thin ceilings, and they've shattered quite a lot beforehand. So that's why we are in this position.
Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, because a lot of our viewers don't know what's happening behind the scene and why they need to vote. But so it's happening on the 18th. Yeah.
Yes.
And
The presidential voting on the 18th of May.
okay. And who is eligible to vote?
Okay. So, who's eligible to vote? Something important to say. Everyone that is above 18 years of age and is a Portuguese national holder, citizen. So, you can say that I'm Portuguese descendant, but if you are not Portuguese citizen, you can't vote for it. Okay, that makes sense. You need to be a Portuguese citizen to vote for the Portuguese elections, even though you'd like to manifest your intentions. You can't say, oh yes, my grandfather was Portuguese and I want to participate in the elections because of X, Y reason that is happening in Portugal. No, you're not a Portuguese citizenship, you can't participate.
Yeah.
That's crystal clear. Second part, in the Portuguese communities overseas, is facultative to be registered in the electoral bulletins.
Okay.
So what is happening is when you're renewing your ID card or your passport at the consulate services in London and everywhere in the world, because the network is the same, you need to be clear that saying to the person in question that is renewing, and by the way, I want to be vote. I want to vote on the elections of Portugal. So please register. It is what we call a semi-automatic process. And why is it semi? Because in Portugal, mainland, if you live there, by renewing the ID card, you are automatically on the bulletins there. That's because you live outside, and for different reasons they open this clause of law to option in or option out. You have the problems, because if you don't manifest, the person that is in front of you renewing might put you in or might put you out if you don't manifest. And there's another caveat. If you renew documents in Portugal, remember there was not long ago when I heard a lot of Goans, of Portuguese, going to Portugal, renewing documents there. It was astonishing when I heard that from my colleague Sienna and the people that I spoke with back a few months ago. And it's reducing, but we can speak that all the time. Doing that in Portugal, they definitely won't ask you, oh, you live overseas. They don't see this. They just going to dash out that option because they are used to the system in Portugal mainland, so they wouldn't go for the voting and put a tick, yes, they're going to vote. So because they're used to the system in Portugal mainland, you don't ask these questions there because you're directly eligible to vote. So it is easy for them to don't see these bits, or you don't manifest because you don't know. So for everyone, when you go to renew a document, ID document, tell them the ID card. You want to be registered to vote.
Okay.
If don't say that, it's omit. Okay, and you might have someone that
it's 50-50 if you don't.
Yes, if you don't tell, you don't guess if the other one wants. You can also, on the other hand, say that you don't want to be, or that you are, but in the future say, oh, I'm fed up. I don't want to vote. Send an email to the Electoral Commission of Portugal. I can share them the links to you, Melvin. Say I won't get out of the bulletin, and they will do that. Okay. So that's why we have many people with different situations of why my neighbor is receiving the post, and others not. Okay, and that's because of this reason. Because some of them are, some of them are not.
For Indian citizens, it's not automatic. In Portugal, you said when they go to renew their card, it's automatic. But in India, it's not automatic.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, semi-automatic.
Because we sell the automatism, and the reason it's automatic is because of the hard work of Antonio, the other Portuguese advisory counselor here, and an association called, in Portuguese também, Somos Portugueses, in English is We Are All Portuguese, that fight into 2018 to have an automatic system of registration to vote. So back in the days, and not long ago, people to vote were the ones who registered on the consulate to vote.
Okay. So it's a new system.
So this system entered about 2018 because the numbers rampaged because of it. After the 18th of May, I will try to bring to everyone's perspective if they are not and they want in the future to send an email to the electoral commissions, of I want to be part of it. There's a link that I'll send to you. I shared to some people that you can follow where is your bulletin letter.
Okay.
So the link when you open, you have in 3 languages: Portuguese, English, and French.
Okay.
But then, if after you fill in the details, goes straight to the Portuguese post office. Okay, and appears there the tracking. Okay, if there's no message, it means you're not eligible to receive the letter, which means you're not in the electoral bulletin to vote. Okay, and I think this is where the discrepancy comes on. We have so many Portuguese people here of Goan origin, African, of Portugal mainland directly, and they are not in the electoral voting because they didn't say, "Yeah, I want to vote."
Yeah.
So they're out of the register because they didn't manifest their interest.
And mostly because I think they just didn't know that they can do that.
Yeah, they can say, "Yeah, I want to vote." Put the tick because the other person that is doing this won't guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, in the good spirit, I would say they would majority of times would put yes, but if you don't, they don't going to manifest yes. I'm going to put that person in the vote.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you did mention, I think, that people can also go to the consulate and vote. Yes.
Yeah.
So they don't have to post it.
If you register,
if you
in
register.
advance.
So the ones who registered, they can even go there and vote. They don't have to. It's not compulsory to send the letter. You can go as well physically. Yeah.
I'm going to correct you.
Okay.
Okay. If you receive the letter, then you can't vote presentially. Okay. You need to decide the mechanism you want to vote. So, in the future, if you have the electronic test and vote, yes, you need to manifest. I can't have 3 votes of my side simultaneously, different ways, right? If I say I want to vote electronically, then it's the only way I can vote. You need to manifest, right?
Yes. Yeah.
As well, if I said, okay, I want to vote presentially on the consulate, then I wouldn't receive the letter. There's about 44 people who vote presentially in the consulate in London, and about 2 people only in Manchester.
Okay. Two people only. That's it.
Probably someone from the consulate. But they need to be open. They decide to be there, to go there and put the ballot. So that's how it works.
Okay. So a lot of people, they don't know which political party stands for what. And, I would always advise people to look it up themselves and do some research themselves. But for people, would you give your view, as your personal view, who you think would be a good candidate for people to vote for?
I'll take my view on that. I shared my view as well. As I said, this is my choice to everyone. So I've already shared, and there's different motives why I think this is the way moving forward. Okay, in terms of voting. So you have. I'm going to tell you about the 3 or 4 major political parties in Portugal that have representation, because then the other ones are quite granular. I'm not going to discriminate them, but let's pick up the big ones, the big sharks. Yes, the big sharks. So you got the Social Democrats, PSD in colligation with CDS-PP. You got the Socialists, PS. The third most vote now, Chega. And then you have a small political party after, which is the Communist political party that has representation still in Portugal. And then you have the extreme left wingers, the Bloco de Esquerda. Okay, and you still have one called Iniciativa Liberal, which are the liberal political party. It has about 6-7% representation.
Okay,
and Livre, which is an extreme left winger, a political party. So I think I told you the major ones that are in the parliament.
But it sounds like there's representation from all sides.
Yes.
It sounds like it's quite balanced right now.
Yes. That's why this is quite difficult, right? So these are the ones who have parliamentary seat. Forgive someone if I forgot any political party. I think not. So these are the ones, okay? Now, for our interest, I'm not in my hometown, so I can't tell what are the measures that would promote better the countryside of Portugal or the territorial cohesion, okay? So the measures that promotes us, communities, Portuguese that live overseas, I'm going to focus on those measures. So why do I believe the Social Democrats are in a better stance at this time? First, they listen to the advisory councillors. Okay. If you want to make a good project, you need to listen to the ones who are outside. overseas. So they do active listening. We managed to co-produce our ideas, and they absorb it on their program. So I'm accepting my ideas, the advisory council ideas, that the proposals that we've done, and they are reflected on their program. So for me, that's a great pointing start.
Yeah.
And third, they have on their program the valuation of the advisory councillor's role, which is actually, in fact, the only one that states that. Even the second biggest political party, the socialists, they don't mention us like in the big bullet points.
Yeah.
They have actually one member of parliament running, which is an advisory council in France, which I have huge respect for her, fantastic. But they do not reflect that on their program about supporting us, the role, invest in our role, to give more resources because we are quite limited. So that's this conversation. So that's why I enjoy and I vote for the Social Democrats. Okay. They also were the ones who promote in February a project law resolution for the electronic test voting.
Okay.
And this electronic voting resolution, this is official, was voting against the socialists, the communists, and also the extreme left wingers, if my memory is not mistaken. Yeah, Bloco de Esquerda. Those in favor was Chega. The Iniciativa Liberal, the Liberals, I think they abstained themselves, so this managed to pass. Okay? And this was promoted by the Social Democrats. Fourth reason, they extended the passport for 10 years renewal.
Yes.
This is the major one. They knew that there's a huge concentration this is a political advocate. Okay, I listened to a lot of cyber security advisors. I'm not doing that for security reasons. You always have this side of it, but there's a huge political and societal gain.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I believe there's a benefit for citizens if you have 10 years passport. One, less paperwork for them, less visits to the office for them. Two, it also saves money for them.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So these are, I would say, main reasons, because then we can go to the grand topic that I vote for the Social Democrats. AD colligation. These are the main reasons. The socialists I would be the second choice if the Social Democrats wouldn't exist, or I would say the list of evils if the Social Democrats wouldn't exist, because they still have an agenda to defend the communities. Okay. They are not ambitious as the Social Democrats are. They promote the associativism as well. They want to increase the budgets. They want to promote the Portuguese language, which is a common ground as well, the Social Democrats. But they don't want to risk it. And they are afraid of the electronic voting. They don't speak it loudly. Yeah. Otherwise, they would be in conjunction back then. It's true, they are afraid of the reflection. I'm not afraid of democracy. If the populists have more votes or not, you shouldn't be afraid. You should just inform people so they have a conscious vote. Third option, I'm not saying. Okay, this is the two main. So the Chega, which is the third most in the parliament, it's a bit contradictory. So they defend the communities, but at the same time they don't like the communities in Portugal. So it's a bit paradox, and I'm going to debunk this.
Okay.
So they say that we shouldn't have all of these illegals coming to Portugal, which everyone accepted, because if you're illegal, you shouldn't be in Portugal. But they want to revoke, and they've been discussions about revoking nationality of Portuguese descendants, third generations. This law was a pioneer law from the Social Democrats in the 80s. There was a member of parliament, José Cesário, which is the actual Secretary of State of the Portuguese communities, that promote this law for different reasons. But the reason Luso descendants, third generations, have the Portuguese nationality ground because of the Social Democrats, and no one can take this. This is history. It's there. So going to Chega, this is the problem. They defend the communities. Yes, you should do the electronic voting, but then you're telling to the communities, and by the way, you're not Portuguese because you were not born 3 generations ago in Portuguese territory. Don't forget, Portuguese territory back in the days, back before 61.
Almost half the world, I would say.
Yeah. So back in 61, before that was Portuguese territory.
Yeah.
Okay, that was considered. So just to put a context, okay?
Yeah.
So they were saying that, you're not directly from that Portuguese territory because already 3 generations jump, you shouldn't have it.
Okay.
This is what they say. They speak informally about that. Apart of the hideous comments, that's the personal thing. And I have Christian values as well, so I could recognize as well on the Social Democrats colligation with the Christian Democrat Party a recognition of what I can see. Okay, and that's another reason. Mm-hmm. I can't have a principles of compassion to others, supposedly as they say the Chega, and then criticize because supposedly you're not as Portuguese as I am, which is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So that's why I'm saying be aware of this. Okay, this is my choice. These are the reasons. I'm not running for MP. I'm not running for advisory elections because I've been elected in 2023. But I need to pass this out because what I don't want is instability back in Portugal. If I have instability in Portugal, the services here in the consulate services, etc. Okay, they maintain, they float, but then you can pass laws that are prejudicial.
Yeah.
Can be prejudicial to us, and people don't get this. When I say this about the passport, imagine if we have the populists there in the parliament, what they would do. They would say, 10 years.
Yeah.
Now let's revoke this.
Yes.
You start thinking, so you need to be careful because there's always hidden agendas. And if you give power to someone that have this type of hidden agendas, and I need to speak out. Because I see people wasting votes or whatever, and they speak out because this is quite serious. This is quite serious, and there's other myriad of reasons. So, but this is why I'm a social democrat, and this is why I believe they have the better program for the Portuguese communities. Okay. For the Portuguese communities, I repeat, because I'm not speaking about the political macro scenario, the healthcare measures. I'm not speaking about the investment measures. I'm speaking about the Portuguese communities.
The
measures.
people.
The
people.
Yes. I'm speaking about that side, okay?
Yeah.
Not about the other measures.
That's good. All right. Thanks for giving us some insight and some details about the elections because a lot of people don't know. Another thing I believe a lot of people want to do, but they don't know is, how would I put it, investments in Portugal. So what can people do to invest in Portugal and what are the different options they have?
So I think it's important to say that if you're a Portuguese national, you have a favoritism of investing in Portugal or some benefits or gains. So in 2017, there was a program called Programa Regressar, which is in English the return program, which gives you fiscal incentives to back home to go to Portugal work. So for professions that are nomads, okay, let's go to the more recent professions.
Okay.
And they want to go to Portugal to work because it's a safe country, it's peaceful, or reminds of the whole time speaking Portuguese back in Goa, whatever reason, and because you like the fish, as you said, and we share a lot of those tastes together. You can go, and your HMRC is lift up the taxes, so you don't pay the full amount. You are excluded from paying the taxes for the first 3 years or so, and you have a 50%, I would say, discount of your NI, so number.
Yes.
So let me explain this in a different way. So I'm an employer in Portugal, and you're someone that's been working here for many years, and I go back to Portugal. I have I don't pay as much NI on the employee to the state because you are someone that was overseas. So I have a benefit to recruit someone that was outside.
Okay.
Yeah. You have a good example, football players. Okay. So for someone who follows football, okay, I'm from Benfica. Anyway, disclaimer apart, that's my football club. But anyway, you get someone that was there in Benfica, big football player, Di Maria.
Okay.
Who follow football, they love it. For the ones who don't follow football, sorry. And he was there a few years in Benfica club. Then he went to Madrid. He did an awesome career. He's one of the biggest football players playing in the active playing from Argentina. and he returned to Benfica. And then he said, why you return to Benfica? Okay, you have the Hearts Club, but you pay less taxes because he came as a returnee to the country because he was there for many years in Portugal. And then he came back as a sort of an immigrant coming back from to Portugal again. And he got the lift up part of his taxes. I'm getting a good example, okay? But to do this situation, you need to be working at least 3 years overseas. Okay, you can't just 6 months here, 6 months there. You need to be at least 3 years overseas. And if you change your fiscal address, the fiscal address is the address on your ID, as well incentives for companies. It's not very well explored outside, and it's not well disseminated, widespread, saying, yes, I want to assemble a company in Portugal, I have this type of business, there's incentives for that, but it's not fully aware, okay? One thing, the public funds or the European funds, some people ask me, okay, why can't I invest here? So you're not expecting to use European funds from Portugal to invest outside of Portugal here. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Let's just be aware of it. So people want to say, oh, I want to invest in Goan. Well, I get it, but not with funds from European funds from Portugal. For instance, if you're investing to Portugal, your company, so that's where you want to have it. Last but not least, something that happened to the youth adults. So if you're under the age of 35 and you want to buy an apartment, a house in Portugal, you're free of the stamp duty.
Okay.
So the government did these measures, the Social Democrats, because of the rampage of the pricings on the habitation in Portugal. Okay, it does stimulate the market. It's true, because you have an incentive for people to buy.
Yeah, and it helps.
It helps. Yeah. It helps. The stamp duty, as you know, it's quite expensive here in Portugal. Yeah. So it does help. It's a way of starting making investments. And then we can speak about education. We have a cohort of people that can, but this is for many years, not now. People don't know this. So you have sons that won't go to university. Mm-hmm. We have one of the best universities in Europe, Católica, Nova, SCT, which is the science faculties of Portugal. We have numerous great institutions to study. You have a cohort for immigrants to apply for it. Okay. People don't do this. And there's an advantage is the fees in Portugal are way more affordable because there's a social system than here. Okay. You pay immensely for a year fee, and a lot of people ask the student loan in Portugal. I would say that 4 years degree or 3 years degree, the fees would be compared to one year here. So it's quite really? Affordable. Yes, wow. Yes. People don't have that notion. And of course, it's a way of incentivize people to start learning Portuguese.
I think I read somewhere a long time ago. Mm-hmm. It might not be true, but I read somewhere is I think the oldest universities in the world were from Portugal because they were sailors, so they would teach other people to sail the world.
That's true, but the sailor part, yes, we have one of the oldest. Not on one of the oldest navy in the world, inactive. Okay, this is a fact. We have one of the oldest universities in the world, which is Coimbra. Okay, where the people start studying law, Portuguese literature, philosophy from centuries ago. Don't forget, Portugal had 900 years and 50 of a kingdomship. Okay?
Yes, yeah,
and
they had a long history.
Yes, long history. We have, so we need to be proud of it, and I think we need to share it loudly. You shouldn't accommodate. Our ancestry is quite old. We were formed as a country in 1043. So, if I'm ever not mistaken, which is long back. Yeah. And we had what we call an epistle from the Pope Alexander III back then to say yes, Portugal can become as a kingdom back then.
Okay.
Don't forget the Portuguese had two things back then, which is go outside because there's famine in Portugal and you are there in the corner. So either is the sea, either is Spain.
Yeah.
You need to go out. You need to explore. So and we were back then before India got what we had in 1498. We were like less than 1 million people. Don't forget that.
Less than 1 million people
live in Portugal.
Okay.
Okay, and how can you control what we've done? That's another time for another podcast. But in fairness, a lot of bloodshed. We had a lot of fights.
Yeah.
We lost our independence back then after the King Sebastian passed away or lost in battle, unfortunately. And then we got back after 200 years of rule, more or less, of the Kings Philips, as we call the Filipino dynasty from Spain.
Okay.
Recent history. Let's go to recent history.
Okay.
That's long ago, but it's important to know. Recent history. We are in what we call the Third Republic. We had the First Republic after the monarchy fell down in 1910. We had a series of governments, like 16 governments. It was a mess, Portugal, back then. You can imagine. We had a regicide. We killed our king. Republicans killed the king. Then we got the king that last 2 years, and they were exiled to England. They passed away here. Yes,
really?
Yes, because of the long relationship.
Yeah, I've heard. I think the oldest. The oldest alliance in
Treaty
the
of
world.
Windsor. Yeah, more than 650 years. I support the celebrations on the last. It's quite immense history.
England and Portugal, the oldest friends on earth.
Yes, the oldest nations alliance. Yes, which is quite ironic, right? So basically, the Englishmen would support us against Spain, Castilla back then, and would support the English against France because of the connections amongst countries.
Yeah,
it's interesting. But yes, we lost the independence. I wouldn't say independence. I would say we had a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And then we got back to the Republic.
That's right. And because of the alliance, I think even in the World War, Portugal wanted to stay out of it. Yeah, Portugal didn't want to do anything with it, but they let England's planes land in Portugal.
Yes.
Because of the alliance.
Yes.
So yes.
We have that long history.
Yeah.
Recent history. We are one of the oldest nations to join OTAN or NATO. Which is a transatlantic alliance between America and as well the European countries.
We've delved into a lot of things, really. We've spoken about you, we've spoken about the elections, we've spoken about investments, we've spoken about some history of Portugal as well. I would want to ask something more in the present.
Okay.
For the Portuguese community in the UK, and not just the UK, across the world as well. Yeah. A lot of them have difficulty renewing their passports and citizen cards, and sometimes they need to take help of agents back in Portugal and stuff, which is a little expensive for them. So how can they do it from where they are, like say in UK? How can they do it from London?
Okay, so this is something that as advisory counselor working with Antonio and Siena, we're trying to dismantle. This is for me is the mission, which is getting people to know how to do it and not going to third parties. It is ethically not acceptable, but it's a way of business, and you can use someone to do it for you. So that's fair and square.
Yeah.
Now, there are repercussions. Before I explain, if you use an agent in Goa or in Portugal, don't forget this. Your ID might be forged or duplicated. We had cases not long ago of people that passed away, for instance, in Goa, and out of sudden they use their ID and they are and appear there as alive, and they were not. They passed away because they used an ID of a person that long ago used these services and they forged it to someone else, and that person already passed away.
Yeah.
There are cases. This is important. You can destroy your life when you're going to renew your passport, and out of sudden, someone has your name here in the system. Who's the innocent? Who's the culprit? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's a judicial problem. Judicial problem takes 5-6 years. Who knows? So you're going to be in the borderline about your safety. You can't get out of the country. Can't renew your documents because you use an agent that took your advantage or not. You sell it. It's not the innocent side. Some people sell it, your nationality, for whatever money it is. And then you have these problems. Okay, I needed to make this disclaimer.
Yes.
So if you use it, be careful. This is happening. This happens. Okay, about renewing passports, because don't forget, we all know Portuguese passport, Portuguese nationality.
It's very valuable.
Very valuable. You can listen by our history. you need to be proud of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So don't try not to use it. Now, mechanisms. Even if I'm in Goa, I can use it. I've never been to Goa. I'll try to go next year.
You should.
I know. I need to know. I need to have a guy there, but I've got some nice invitations. But what I'm trying to say is, even in Go, you can use this system. Okay, you have two mechanisms very quickly. Ones, which is for someone that is techie savvy, you can use the online system. Now, I'm not going to explain here in detail how to activate the mobile digital key, because that depends on the phone you have. That depends on the quality of the camera. That depends the way you can go to the steps. If you don't follow it, and you can do that in English already, you basically subscribe. You subscribe with your email, and you put a password, and they'll ask you about your ID number. This is on the online platform of the consulates. Okay? You subscribe. Done. Once you do that, you go Consular Acts. And then on the Consular Acts appears the different consulates in the world, because the network is one. So I can book here an appointment to the consulate in Goa. Okay? I can, because I'm going to be in Macau next week. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to renew that. I know it doesn't make sense because I'm going to travel back, but I can book an appointment in Macau if I want. Because it's a platform that goes connected to all the consulates.
So it's a global platform.
Yes. So you access it, you can book whatever consulate you want. This is crystal clear. And then you select the option of travel, and then appears passport or ID card. Okay? Now, some people came back to me and said, I've done that, but there's no vacancies appearing. Why? For two reasons. First, they limit because they have different options. So daily they open in London about 200, 250 slots per day. They open to be booked. If I put all my slots in the same mechanism, and I have a solicitor, third agent, and they are clever cookies, and they surpass the system, they would overwhelm the system and cover all the slots for them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you divide the risk, you manage to people to get some slots here, some slots there, because they have different ways. So you don't have that situation of being always clogged up because of third agents, of using the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We try to improve. We ask for different measures. It's better because you don't have now the robots, because you have the captured pictures, so you don't have robots to do this, but all the systems are always a bit to fail.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's a computer.
Yeah, so there's always that margin of corruption and someone to access the online system. This is one. The other one is I don't know how to go to online. I don't know how to register myself. You still have the option of calling the number CAC, the consular acting services that are in Portugal. There's a designated number for each country where you call and they book you. Okay,
perfect.
You just need to hold the line, say that you want the English option, speak on the phone. It take about 20 minutes, half an hour, depends, but you can do it via phone. Third option, you got a link. You access that link, and it appears different countries. You go to United Kingdom. You select the option there, and say, in this case, passport. And then there, you need to manifest how urgent is it. Okay, you can upload actually even the picture, saying, I'm expired, I need this ASAP. If this is the case, in 2-3 days you have an appointment. Okay.
Okay.
If it's something normal, then you'll have within 2-3 weeks. Okay. Last but not least, general email for the consulate in Portugal, here in London, and as well Manchester. You can say the email, say, I need an appointment for this, and that, because I don't know how to access via online. You need to state it, because otherwise people can chunk you to another route. You need to state, I don't know how to use it.
Yes.
My knowledge is limited. I'm this person. I need an appointment to renew this, and that. For passports, for birth registrations, for information that you don't know how to get it from the website, send it. Within 3 to 4 days, you'll have an answer. Check your spam, of course.
Okay.
And check your spam for the appointment, because this happens to me and to everyone. It goes to spam.
The way you explained it, it's very, there are a lot of people who are helpful in the consulate. They will help them. But some people have told us that they've had issues at the consulate. Mm-hmm. Like some people have been rude to them. So is there a process where they can complain?
Yes. You touched something very important, which is complaints. So I've heard about that. Now, hearing and proving is a different matter. If someone is rude, you have what you call a complaint book. Every store in Portugal, any business, any public institution, you have a complaint book.
So even the consulate will have it?
Yes, they have two books,
Okay.
suggestions book and complaint book. The complaint book in Portuguese is livro, book, de reclamações. I'll repeat.
I didn't understand.
I'm going to repeat. Reclamações. It means complaint in Portuguese. Reclamar, complaint. I want to clamar.
Yeah.
I want to complain. Reclamar, reclamações. This book is obliged by the law. You need to have it
Okay.
in public. It's a red book for people who want to identify, and you can write down, and people are obliged to answer to that complaint, to follow up, basically.
That's good.
Okay, it's like in the NHS or whatever. You want to complain about something, and the manager needs to follow up.
Yes.
It's an official book. You can do that because you can tell me someone was rude to you, but if you don't manifest officially, we can't do anything. I can tell the people on the consulate has changed dramatically. Some of them have retired, others are quite youngsters. So I would say culturally it's changing. Okay. And I think there's an assumption, because many of them never work overseas, because they were not recruited in the community. They came directly from Portugal, or just one or two cases or three they are around the community. Some of them not. They didn't experience that. They just worked there. But they assume everyone has the same background in terms of you should speak high-level proficient Portuguese. But I'm not going to there speaking high-level vocabulary, because I'm not superior to the worker just because I have a deeper understanding of Portuguese better than him.
Yeah.
We are not dispar by our language knowledge, okay? And they can't assume that everyone can speak Portuguese perfectly. And that's why it creates these grievances, because they assume, because you are a Portuguese citizen, that you speak Portuguese. This will change, by the way. I can't anticipate the news, but Antonio, Siena, we've been working out with the previous consul that came here, because we have an interim consul. The previous consul actually came to the event of the Goan Festival.
Yes.
I recall the first time we got the consular services and reps coming together, to be listened and to know the different communities. And we've done that bit.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
And we're going to work out that will something on the future, and we'll come soon with some good news in the late summer. What's going to happen?
I wanted to ask you if there are ways for citizens, or not just citizens, anybody who wants to learn, who have, who are trying to inquire to learn Portuguese in the UK. Do you all have something online or anything that the consulate is doing?
Yes. So we have an official institute.
Yeah.
That it's not like Wall Street languages. It's nothing about. It's not a private sector to promote. Portugal is not paying for a third entity. It's actually a state institute that is formed, created in 2002 from the languages coordinator back then. That has that mission. Instituto Camões. Instituto Camões has a series of links to subscribe for Portuguese languages. I think there's a limitation, and this is why the governments and the promotion are on certain online classes for adults. It's not well representative, but there is a link for that. And there's a link for something people don't know this, and we want to pass, which is strive people to learn Portuguese. If I tell you can have a Portuguese teacher where there's a lot of Portuguese descendants, would you believe me? You could have.
Yeah.
You could have.
Yes.
Now,
that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We're looking for a Portuguese teacher where
I don't.
Yes.
So if I don't know the expression of interest, I can't tell. But I can't go everywhere. But that's why I need
so
to.
people need to request. More people request,
Yes.
the better. Yeah.
Yes. So if this is the elective year is from September onwards here in Portugal to start the new year on the schools.
Education. Yeah.
The education time. So in May, until the end of May, they are still organizing where the teachers goes, how many requests are from Instituto Camões. I don't know if the deadline is the 21st or the 22nd of May, but basically, in short, if I have a primary school, a secondary school, and I have on that link more than 50 requests from the parents, new applications for the kids. Then the Instituto Camões is forced to check the curricula schedule of a teacher to go to that school.
Okay.
Because you have option, if imagine, you are in Sweden, but in Wales you have a teacher that goes to Wexham because of a Portuguese community there.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just giving an example.
Okay, as an example.
As an example. I don't know by memory where they are located. I can find out.
Okay.
And there's an expression of interest on that school in Sweden. So if there's a teacher there, and if they can accommodate, they'll try to see if that's possible.
And can only kids register or adults as well?
Adults, there's a link for adults.
Yes?
As again, the intakes are different. For the adults, they have specific slots, like specific courses. One starts in April, other starts in July. It's not as in the elective year.
It's not
from like the kids,
Yeah.
okay, from primary school to secondary school, and then of course they'll check the level of Portuguese. If it's the basic, they'll start with the basics. Of course, they'll do that, but they can only know if you inscribe it. Okay, yeah. I can go to the coordinator and say there's a school that wants, or the parents want. That's just saying they need to register.
Yes.
If you register, they know it's there. They can't delete it. I'll pursue and say, okay, that area wants a Portuguese teacher because you have a lot of requests. And that's the way you can start building up this relation. Yes.
We've actually gone through a lot of topics. And we've gone back in the history, we came back to the present, we did quite a lot. But yes. I've got some questions. It's been very serious so far. Yeah, okay. Time to make it a little bit more fun. Yeah, I've got some questions for you.
Okay,
it's more like rapid fire, so you have to be very quick.
Okay. Yeah? I'll get myself ready.
Okay, so tell me, what's the one Portuguese dish you will want every Goan to try?
Bacalhau à Brás. You said to be quick fire. Yes. I was quick fire.
You were. Can you say that again?
Okay, bacalhau.
Yes.
It's codfish.
Yes.
À Brás.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a simple dish made of codfish with potatoes.
That's good. Okay. So we'll get some Goans to try that.
Bacalhau à Brás. Yes. It's a bit salty because of the codfish.
Yeah.
But I think you guys will enjoy it, and there's no those levels of spiciness. Okay. It's a Mediterranean food, so that you might have spices, but not on that dish as much. Okay.
We love our fish, so we will definitely try.
You'll enjoy. It's different. It's not grilled fish. It's different. It's mixed with potatoes. It's interesting. Try it.
Perfect. So next one. If you could teleport yourself, right now to somewhere in Portugal, where will you go?
I would go to my father's village.
Father's village.
It's Figueiro da Granja.
We'll try and find some pictures of the village and put it up on the screen right now.
You'll see what I mean. It's very rustic, granitical. I came from a granitical area. You have a beautiful view to the mountain, the highest peak of Portugal. You see it. It's nearby. It has less than 400 inhabitants.
Okay.
It's very rural, and it gives you peace of mind. I like very much my hometown, but I like peace of mind. The beach helps as well, from my wife's side. But for mine, I need the smell of the pine trees, and the food, the warm food, the cheese, the wine, and the olives, and you go to a restless period of your life, and then you end there. The best way to describe time stops. You enter in a zone mode, and that's where I like to portray myself.
That's good. That's beautiful.
Yes.
It's like you're just taking us there already.
I'm very descriptive. I can see and smell.
That's good.
The area. Yeah.
Perfect. So I don't even want to interrupt that.
No, go ahead. Shoot.
What's a Goan tradition that you like and you think Portuguese should adopt?
I like very much the processions of the Goans in the church. For people who are Christians, sorry, to get there. I think we lost our tradition of practice as the Goans do. I go because I'm faithful. I do practice, but if you go to my hometown or to Portugal in general, we used to have those processions, not just on Easter time, we still do that quite vividly, but in a Sunday, in a regular basis. And I think we are fading away the way the processions are lived, the way you celebrate the beatification, for instance, for Father Agnello, the way you bring God to people's life.
Yeah.
And that Goans do a lot, and quite vividly. It's like the 13th of May every single Sunday.
In one word, pastel de nata or bibinka?
Or?
Bibinka.
What's bibinka?
It's a Goan sweet. It's a Goan traditional sweet. If you've not tried that, I would highly suggest you try it.
Can you describe it? How's the bibinka?
It's made of egg.
Okay.
But it takes a long time to make it. Every layer of egg, it has to set, and then they put another layer. I think traditionally it's about 14 layers, I believe.
Okay. It's like you cut it like a
Yes.
pudding. Oh,
It's like a cake.
cake. I tried bibinka then.
Yes?
I got someone that brought me from Goa. It's like a sort of rectangular
slab,
shape, a
yes.
slam, and then you slice it.
Yes.
So yes.
Did you like it?
I like it. It's quite sweet for my own taste.
Okay.
Very sweet.
Indians love sweet. It's an Indian thing.
I know. Yes. They have a sugar taste. Clearly they have.
Yeah.
Because they even the fry sweets. But in all fairness, I'll keep it the pastel because it's the balance, and you can add a bit of cinnamon if you want on the pastel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If it's warm, okay, very nice.
Okay. So, Lisbon's trams or London's tubes? Which one is more comfortable?
London's tubes are more comfortable because they are practical. Sorry, I'm going for the practicality here, and they are always passing by, even on the rush hour.
But you're next to Wimbledon. There are trams here as well. So you're next to the place where there are trams in London as well. So, so Lisbon's trams or Wimbledon's trams?
If you're comparing trams,
yeah,
I'm going to the Lisbon trams.
Okay.
Not because of practicality, because of the beautiness. We have something that somehow, I think the English, it's the cultural thing. You can see a lot in Portugal history, in our tiles, in the way we are. Yes. So definitely our trams, they are beautiful.
Yeah. So, just a last question for you. We'd like to end the podcast by asking you this one question.
Okay.
Can you say anything in Konkani?
Oh, yes. So, I got for me the famous one, which is Dev Barum Kurum. That's the grace of God, and God bless you all. I think that's the best way for finish. I've got as well some key words, which I write down. Tumi Koksim Asat.
Okay, yes. Tumi Koshi Asat.
Tumi Koshi Asat.
Yeah.
How are you? And I've got one as well about our support that Portuguese government Tumche Sangata Asat.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yes.
So
you said it well. Yes.
Thank you. So I don't know if I know more. Maybe this is for Priest Renato. De Goan Champlesi Che Besam Galum.
Yes.
This is for them.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And that's the limit that I have from Konkani.
But that's still quite a lot. That's very good. I don't know much of Portuguese. When I go to Lisbon, I just stick to obrigado, como estás, bom dia, boa tarde.
That's good.
That's all I stick with.
That's good.
And when I walk in, I just say hola, bom dia, como estás, and they think I know Portuguese, and they start in Portuguese.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's all I know. I used all my knowledge in one sentence, and that's it. But I'm trying.
You're trying. Next time I meet you, I'll start the conversation, and then you say, "I'm good, thank you. Estou bem, obrigado."
Yes, I'll try. I'll try to continue more further.
Yes,
than that.
yes.
Okay. And I like how you said Deo Barekuru. You started with that, and you said it's by the grace of God. But in Konkani, I don't think we really have a word for thank you, because for thank you we say Deo Barekuru.
Okay.
So we use that for thank you mostly as well.
That's interesting, because you basically use the thank of God for everything, and I think that's beautiful.
Thank you a lot for giving us your time in your very busy schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're working full time for the NHS. You're helping as the advisory counselor for UK and Ireland. You've also got a toddler.
Yes.
So a lot of jobs, everything happening everywhere. So we are very obliged that you came here, gave your time, and also for the Goan community, your advice and how you can help us, how we need to seek help as well.
Yeah.
And, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Melvin. Appreciate
It's been great. We've had good discussion today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.